Yeah, sorry about the mess. It might be a bit mucky. I just have a lunch.
Yeah, well, you'll know what you're like.
Can't keep lunch off my front at any point, can I? Hi everybody, welcome to another little video on our run up to Christmas.
Yep.
Big old Christmas extravaganza, whatever. That one.
That one.
Yeah, and today we're going to use up, or show you how to use up something that everyone tends to be buying right now at Christmas, almost every year. For the last 10 years, it's got more and more popular. It's a Panettone. Okay? We've actually got a couple of Panettones. We've got this one really to do this recipe, but it's not the Panettone we normally would be using for us for Christmas. We're just using it to demonstrate on this. This one's from M&S, I think. There might have been the same as one around. There's loads. They're all over the place. We've got a Carluccio's one, which we always get.
That's the one we usually buy. But this is why this recipe is brilliant, because
well, Panettones are massive.
That's the thing. With the Carluccio's one, it is huge.
Huge, yeah.
And we usually start off well, and we have it toasted, and we have it for breakfast, and all the rest of it.
All lovely.
Always end up with a great big chunk left.
What do you do with it?
That you're sick to death of.
Yeah, and that kind of happens with most people, with all Panettones. You can use any Panettone with this. It doesn't matter if it's a traditional one. We use traditional because we're not really into the ones with all the kind of custards and curds and those kind of strange things, and champagne stuff. I put cream
and chocolate and
all right. So we like traditional, but use any of them. This works for this. We are doing, well, it's a posh bread and butter pudding.
Basically.
Really. Basically, it's a Panettone pudding because it's for Christmas. Okay, so assume we have some of this left over. So about 250 grams of it cut into slices or cut into wedges. Literally, you need enough to kind of fill your dish. Okay, we've greased this dish with some butter. You know, ingredients are going to say 50 grams of butter, but you're greasing your dish with some butter for now, and then the rest of it we're going to use in this. It's a very easy recipe. Let us cut some of this panettone together and we'll get cracking. Okay, so we've cut up the slices of panettone and we've buttered them lightly, and then we've wedged them into our dish. We've got quite a large dish, so we've used probably more panettone than most people would need, but whatever fits your dish, whatever floats your boat.
Absolutely.
You'll see in a picture of what we did. Buttering a slice of panettone.
And I think the other thing is, like, we cut it into sort of like wedges, whereas maybe you might not. You might cut it in slices and then
wedges, cubes. It doesn't matter, but needs an edge. Yeah. So that's why we're doing it in wedges. If you're doing a bread and butter pudding, quite often you make it to triangular sandwiches.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
You can. We're not, but you could put maybe a little bit of apricot jam on this as well, but it would be very sweet. And there's already candied fruit in this, so we're not going to panic about putting sultanas, raisins, or those kind of things more normally. But we do have a few spare sour cherries that we've used for our Christmas cake recipe, which is the chocolate and cherry Christmas cake, which hopefully you've seen already. So we're going to put those on, use them up. Why not? That's what Christmas is all about. It's about excess, obviously, but you do end up with a few odds and ends left, so why not use them up?
Exactly.
I'm sure it'll be very nice in this, yeah, and it will kind of work because obviously there's candied fruit in the panettone. So we're going to put that to one side a second, and we're going to make the custard. So 100, well, it says 142, but 150 ml of cream, double cream, which we've already poured into the bowl.
Yeah.
And 225
of
to 250 of milk.
We're using whole milk.
We are, because we used it in another recipe, and because, well, it's Christmas. What's the point of putting skim milk into double cream?
There's that.
Okay. So we're going to make a bit of an egg custard. Okay. So we need 2 eggs. Otherwise, it wouldn't be an egg custard.
That is correct, John.
I know. Preheat your oven. Preheat your oven to quite a low, I think about 140, I think.
Fan.
Off fan, yeah. Slightly higher.
Probably 160-ish.
Maybe, yeah, but pretty low. Gas mark 3, I think, off the top of my head. But it's low because it's you're going to be baking an egg custard. Easy done.
We're using large eggs this time.
We're using large eggs because we got some, and well, we've got to make a decent sized custard for that dish. So we're going to need some caster sugar and some vanilla extract now. So
how much caster sugar?
2 tablespoons of caster sugar. Lovely. We're using golden caster sugar because we always do. It just tends to be really nice. Adds a kind of slightly coffee kind of edge to things. 1 teaspoon.
1 teaspoon.
We're using vanilla extract. We often, well, we haven't used that one for a while because we're normally using vanilla paste. Vanilla paste or vanilla extract are great.
I can't get the top off.
Don't use vanilla essence, okay? We'll come back when we open the jar.
Can you not get it off?
You don't want to see me biting the end of a bottle trying to get the top off. Right, so
A teaspoon.
A teaspoon, yeah, you're basically making a vanilla custard. You can make it a bit more vanilla if you want. I mean, it's not going to cause a problem. If you want to put a dash more in, put a dash more in.
I feel like I want to give it a shake, actually.
Okay.
Which I maybe should have done before.
Like I said, we tend to use the actual paste now, but we had some vanilla extract left over, so again, using things up.
We always seem to use this Nielsen and Macy one.
Yeah, it's a good one. There are quite a few around, but they're kind of the most reputable name, I suppose. Yeah, a bit more, that's lovely. And this is now going to be whisked up into a custard, which is then going to be poured over your panettone, or your bread, or whatever. And that's basically it.
Now, I have a question, Dom.
Yep, apart from splattering me over on my lovely shirt. Look, oh, gold. Yeah.
Bread and butter pudding was one of the first things that I made when I was at school.
Okay.
Right? But I have a feeling that when we added the liquid, we had to wait for it to sink into the bread. Is that right?
Yeah.
Or am I just imagining that?
Yeah, because, well, certainly with bread, this is probably a bit lighter, so it probably soaks in quite quick. When you do bread and butter pudding, you kind of squidge it in a bit.
Like
use your finger and push it in, just to make sure the bread is completely coated or soaked with the liquid. To be honest, yeah, I would say maybe leave this out for 10 minutes.
Yeah, that is so
leave it in the fridge for a few minutes, just to give it a chance for all the amalgamate together. Some people quite like when you cut this to all just be a solid lump of squidginess. Some people quite like a little bit of the custard kind of on the side, like still set but nice.
I remember like the burnt bits on the edges.
Burnt bits quite nice. And that is pretty much it. Pour that all over there, my love.
Doing it gammy-handed.
Yeah, now again, with a bread and butter pudding, I would say dot it with a few bits of butter that you've got lying around that's left as well.
Whoops,
that's it, pour it over the sides, yeah. Looks good. Maybe put a couple of knobs butter on it as well.
I got a little bit of butter left from the measured butter that we had in the first place.
There you go. So that just gets dabbed around. That's it, put little blobs over it. I would also say you could even possibly put a little bit of caster sugar, just sprinkle over it.
I'll tell you what we have got, once we've cooked it, I've got those sugar nibs.
You have got little sugar nibs, that would work too.
Or demerara, make it a bit crispy
because you're cooking it slow, it's not really going to burn much on the top. But it should crisp up a little bit, and that's what you want. You want to kind of caramelise dark edges on the corners, so it's a little bit crispy, a little bit gooey. Perfect.
And what would you suggest we serve this with, dear?
Well, yeah. See, some people say cream, some would say custard. I think cream is probably better because it is a custard base.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about ice cream? Would that be
ice cream would work? Ice cream will work too.
There we go. All done.
It's inherently quite a sweet thing, so
yeah.
Something that might cut it a little bit. I would say, but yes, very nice. So nice, easy pudding. This one. Use up the leftovers again, like we're trying to do. We're going to pop this in the oven, and we'll show you it when it comes out. How
long does it need?
You're going to ask me that. No, I'll check for you.
Okay, let me know.
I'll write it down in the description below. Okay. So back in the room, it should be in the oven on a low heat, like we've said. So it's going to take quite a while. We're just going to say half an hour to slightly more.
30 to
35 minutes. You're literally so the custard sets.
Yeah, but then I would say again that's up to you.
It's again personal preference, but it's quite nice.
I definitely want some
you put in.
toasty brown bits on the edges of mine before
we'll keep an eye on it. Again, one of those things. If you throw a little bit of caster sugar on it, just a little bit, you'll get more of that kind of caramelised burnt bit. But I'm sure it'll be very nice. We'll show you when it comes out.
So the bread and butter pudding, or the panettone bread and butter pudding, took about 40 to 45 minutes. Now that could very well have been because we sliced our panettone in wedges rather than slices. But obviously whatever you've got left will sort of dominate how you cut it in the first place. In the actual very middle, it was still, well, runny, for want of a better expression. So it went back in for another 10 minutes after the 30 minutes. So it's been in there sort of 40 minutes or so. It's now set completely. It smells wonderful. If you've never had a bread and butter pudding before, it's sort of, how would you describe it, John?
Gooey.
It's gooey and creamy.
Yeah, in the middle. It's very kind of soft, melts in your mouth.
Yeah.
It fools your mouth.
Yeah, and it's not.
But it's got crispy edges.
It's like, yeah, we've got nice crispy edges, which are the good bits. But as you can, I don't know if you can see this because if I poke it, but if you can see, the edges are crispy.
It's a wobble though, isn't it?
But the middle are sort of wobbly, which is exactly what you want. So you get the nice crispy bits on the outside and you get the lovely creamy smooth bits on the inside, and it doesn't taste like bread at all. So if you wanted to do it with ordinary sliced bread that you've got left over or that's going stale, it's absolutely perfect. Don't, you know, it's one of those recipes where you can use leftovers and make something really lovely out
works
of
as
it.
well, because
Yeah,
again, it's another of
brioche.
those enriched things.
So obviously a panettone is an enriched dough, like brioche.
Yep.
So if you wanted to use leftover brioche, if you've got them, if you're a bit fancy, we don't very often buy, well, in fact, we never buy brioche.
We got some over there because we did it in the pudding.
Because we needed it for the pudding, but as a rule, we don't buy brioche. So you could use just normal sliced bread, and you can get a sliced loaf now for probably less than 50p if it's a
Really cheap one. Or
a
about
cheap
£1.
one, yeah. And if you have a cheap loaf and you've got a bit of butter or even margarine, you can make a good pudding for your kids that they will love. It's sweet, it's vanilla, and it's perfect. And it's as cheap as chips.
A couple of things you can add to that. You can put some dried fruit on it. You can
If
put
you've
some
got it.
raisins or currants if you're going to do that.
Yeah,
You can make jam sandwiches.
Yeah.
Apricot jam's good. Marmalade's good if you like Paddington.
yeah.
Make the bread into sandwiches, cut them into triangles, and then
And
put
then
the
stack
triangles in
them.
a line like that.
But if your kids like strawberry jam, use strawberry
With
jam.
strawberry.
Use
Doesn't
whatever
matter.
you like. It doesn't make a difference. You can pimp it to your heart's content. Make it as cheap as chips or a panettone,
Posh as you
a
want.
bit more luxury. Okay, so I'm not going to dish it out into a dish because
Right.
this is for my kids for later, and they're not ready to have their tea right now, and I don't want to serve it stone cold later on, and I don't want to bung it in a microwave either. So I'm going to stick it back in the oven at a very low heat, probably about 100, for 15 minutes before they have their dessert. So hope you enjoyed it. It's excellent use of waste, leftovers. We don't want any of that in these days and ages. If you've not subscribed, please do. If you are subscribed, or even if you're not subscribed, still hit the notification bell and then you'll know when we're doing stuff. There's a lot of stuff coming up. We're doing an awful lot of stuff daily, quite frankly, to make sure that we're ahead so that we can give you stuff in the run up to Christmas. So hope you enjoyed it. See you all again soon, and happy Christmas.
Bye everybody.